Hi, well, I'm back for my Facebook Live, and I do apologise if you started with me and then it stopped very abruptly. It stopped for me, but I don't know at what point it stopped for you. So, apologies for that. I'm just going to see if that is still loading okay, and then I'll crack on. So what I don't know is how far through my live I actually got. Hi Joe, Carol, Jeanette. Fingers crossed we're all good. Okay. So, thanks Joe, got me second time round. I know quite a few people reported Facebook issues earlier this week, so whether there's a general problem, I don't know. Anyway, let us see. We'll soon find out. Okay. So, where did I get to? That's a good question. So we were talking about the Blossoms in Bloom sets of dies, and I'm just going to stand outside of the light a little bit here. This is one of the cards that I've made using the 2 layers of dies just straight onto a card, so no stamping. Okay, excellent. Well, fingers crossed. The light's going, which doesn't help, but I'll try and stand out of the light. So that helps you. So I was talking about using these 2 layers from the dies, and to show you what they look like, there's a thin layer, a fine layer, and a thick layer, and the idea is that these 2 can go together. They can also go with the stamp, or you can use them separately. And what you can do, if you cut them out in 2 colours, which is where I got to before everything stopped, hi Moretta, was that you can keep the petals from one colour and then use those to infill another colour. So like a jigsaw puzzle, if you wish. So these don't have to be you could have a mixture of colours here. So you could have a pink flower, a yellow flower, whatever, just by cutting up multiple sets of leaves. Obviously, it takes a little bit of time to work out which bit goes where. I think some of them will be easier than others. So that is something else you can do just with this single die. Thanks Brenda, so am I. And you can also do it with this one. Taking, for example, if you cut this in white and Gorgeous Grape, the same die, you could infill Gorgeous Grape into here and vice versa. So if you like to do that sort of thing, then I recommend, when you've popped the items out, and they do come out really easily, especially with our new die cutting machine, just keep them in a pot or in a little paper bag or a cellophane bag or something, and then use them to infill if you wish. If that's not your cup of tea, then just throw them out with your recycling. So this is one that I created earlier just with the 2 layers, and I've used our foil card for the top, and I've also left the innards of those centres in because I thought they were really pretty. There's nothing to stop you changing that for something else. You can also stamp on your card and then just add a layer on top. If I get this the right way around, it's got a single flower on the top. Okay, now I know the light is going and I'm out of my main light source, but this has got petal pink underneath. So what I want to show you is mixing the stamps and the dies and how to get them to line up. As I say, these go through in one, and they take a single A6 piece of card, A6 cut in half. Oh, jolly good, Moretta. Now, Moretta did a great card in our recent team challenge. Excuse me. Moretta is one of my team members, alongside Jo, who's joined us, and Carol Wincott. And she did a great example using sponge daubers to colour some of these in. So that's actually what I'm going to be doing tomorrow, Moretta, if that's okay with you, because it was your sample. So I'm going to, hopefully, if you're happy to, copy that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp on here the basic stamp, but I want to make sure that it's going to fit with the die cut. So I really need the die to give me an outline of where the stamp is going to go. Does that make sense? So what I'm going to do is use my Stamparatus, which is just here somewhere. Here it is. Okay. And what I did was I put my card on here. This is what I want to stamp onto, and I've actually got a top opening card, but it could be a side opening card. It really wouldn't matter. I'm going to pop my magnets down just to hold that in place, and then take one of my fine edges to position that onto my card. So that's going to be my final position of my card. I'm really sorry about the shadowing, ladies. I will need to sort out some new lighting. So I'm just going to pop that on very lightly, and then take my stamp. Just want to make sure it's reasonably clean, as I can't remember what colour I stamped in last. And basically place it over the die. So I'm using the die like a mask, a template, for want of a better description. And that means that wherever that die ends up, that's where I want my stamp set to be. Okay, so I've lined that up, and then all I'm going to do is bring this over, push it down, okay, and that will lift that stamp up, and I'm just very carefully going to take this off. Now this is quite robust, okay, and then what I'm going to do is ink that and position it onto there. Okay, now this is quite deceptive because the edge of the die cut goes quite a way round, and the temptation would be to put your stamp right in the middle, but in fact it needs to be offset. So I hope that makes sense. Oh, thanks, Jeanette. So this is Seaside Spray, and the card base I've got is Seaside Spray. So I'm using this like an infill, and let me just make sure I've got some magnets on there. Yep, and they're clear of the area. So it looks like I haven't inked that bit in the middle, doesn't it? Maybe I haven't. There we go. No, I didn't. Thank goodness for the Stamparatus. It's because I've got things underneath it. And I appreciate... you can't quite see that, can you? Sorry, girls. Oh, bless you, Murta. Right, I do apologise. Let me bring this up so you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, so now I'm doing the stamping, having used this as a template. Let me put this back so you can see. So I place the die cut out onto my card to get the positioning. I then pop the stamp on top, brought the plate over to pick it up. Okay, so now I know that that will fit on the card. But if you look at it, can you see that this is quite a long way to the edge? The temptation would be to put it in the middle, but in fact we have all of this edge here, okay, that will make it central. So I hope that makes some sense for you. I'm just going to add a little bit more up on the top. On there. Okay. There we go. Okay, so that's got my seaside spray on my seaside spray card, like so. Just going to move that out of the way and I'll clean that in a second. And what I'm going to do is, the way that it's going to go is I'm going to put my navy blue layer onto my white layer, and then that is going to go onto here. So you get almost a 3D effect because you've got the stamp, the white and the dark. And one thing I thought I might do, I could leave it all blue and white, but I did think I might put some yellow in the center of these little flowers. So all I'm going to do for that is just use my blends pen on the centers. I don't know if it's going to work. Let us see. So this is Dark Daffodil Delight. So let's have a look and see. If I put that one over. Yeah, I like that. So this is instead of piecing all the tiny little centres together. So all I'm going to do is just colour the centres of these white flowers. I'm hoping we're still going. Fingers crossed. Looks like we're still going. And that one. And then the centre of this little flower here. So when I put this layer on, I've got my little flowers centred and coloured. So all I'm going to do is put some dobs of glue on the back of here. Now you could use our self-adhesive sheets when you cut out this fine layer, and that would mean you wouldn't have to glue individual parts of this. But all I'm doing, you could use a sponge with your glue, but just literally dotting a small amount. Now I would recommend you do this on a silicone mat so that your glue doesn't go everywhere, as you can see. And you can add a little bit more glue where you've got larger areas. I'm not too fussed if it's not completely stuck down, because I think that will look quite nice 3D wise. This is definitely the finer one to add, you'll come to see when I do the other one, the back is much, much bigger. So I'm just going to lift that up. I'm going to pick up some of the glue on there. Why not? Find the right position. And as I say, putting this together is really easy because it fits exactly. So using the white glue gives you time to position that exactly. Like so. Let me just wipe that down. There we go. So I appreciate the light isn't brilliant, but hopefully you can see that in some detail. And then what I'm going to do is pop this onto our stamped image. So when I turn this over, you can see there's a lot much easier area. So I wouldn't bother with the self-adhesive sheet for this layer, but I might do it for the other one. So just dotting this around, and so the good thing about doing this and not the self-adhesive sheet, of course, is you've got ability to move it around. So I think I've got most of that. There'll be enough for our purposes anyway. Picking it up carefully. Just finding the one flower at the top and then positioning this accordingly. So it takes a little bit of time to find the layers, like so. There we go. I've got a little bit of glue sticking out here, which I'm going to lift off with my adhesive remover. So there is my base card. Now what I did think was it would be quite nice, possibly, to add some colour to these leaves, although I do rather like the blue and white. So all I did was I took some scraps of green, and then I've added those, run them through the die cutting machine, and then you can literally just pick out the larger pieces. I'm not going to do all of the small pieces, and infill them on top so that you get that green relief. Okay, so I'm just going to do that with those, and then I'm just going to add my sentiment, and we're done. Find the glue. So I will take photographs of this in daylight tomorrow. Just turning this one round, and I'm not worrying it's got the white layer underneath. This almost gives it a little bit of 3D because it's slightly higher. So it's that one and that one. Is that still looking okay? Can everybody see that all right despite my fading light? I will get my other lights out for next week, although hopefully we'll be able to start and keep going at 7 o'clock, not having to wait till 7:30. So this is the little leaves here and here. Just make sure I've got the right one. Yes. So if you like doing puzzles and mosaics, you could have great fun with these in different colours, couldn't you? I'm just going to put those 2 sets of leaves. As I say, I appreciate you can't really see the detailed colour. That's if I lift it up now. You can see that a bit better. And I'll do the last 2 leaves, and then I'm just going to add a sentiment in the middle. Oops. Reminds me of a coffee bean, that little cutout. There's one, and then this tiny little piece. And you can of course put the glue on the base card rather than on the piece if you prefer. And you can use a pair of tweezers if you wanted to. There we go. Let me put the lid on that. Oh good. So there we go. So all I'm going to do, there is a little bit of spare glue there which I'm going to remove with my glue remover, and then I've got my thank you stamp that I'm going to stamp in Night of Navy. That was the colour of the thin line that I've cut out. I've got a couple of these at the ready. This is from the rectangle stitch dies, the small thin one, and I've got Night of Navy. Right. Oops. I need to just clean this off. It's got dry in its little packet, so bear with me a second. And I've just covered it in ink. Hello Carol with an E. Thanks for joining us this evening. I have had a few technical hitches, but I think we're there now. There we go. Right, let's see if this is a bit better sticking. There we are, that will do nicely. There we go. So this one, it seems a shame to cover it up really, doesn't it? I think if I put it there, it's surrounded by those 3 flowers. And I could also cut it down if I wanted to. I'm going to pop that on with dimensionals. Sorry about my shadow. And I have got another video for you that will be live tomorrow at 3 p.m. and that is using this same set but using the dies and some sponge daubers as Maretta from my team did this week. It inspired me so much I thought I have to show my customers and my team how that was done. I hope I can do it justice though, that's the only thing. Okay, so there is my finished card. It's difficult to get the light on it, isn't it? Oh, the right angle. There we go. So you can see hopefully the stamped image, the white layer, the fine navy blue layer, and I have coloured in the centres of the white using my Daffodil Delight Blends pen. Let me show you another sample, and there's this one. I left all the bits in from the actual centres of the flowers and the small leaves, just for a bit of contrast, and that's without any stamps, so no stamping on that one, just straight onto the card. Both of those are standard A6 UK card bases. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap up there while we still have the option. Oh, hi Vivian, thank you for joining us. Apologies for the poor lighting and the fact that this is done in 2 halves. I'll try and mash them together for when they hit YouTube. So if you watch the first sort of 5 minutes, it will just stop abruptly. I'll have to look and see where it stops. So I hope that has been useful and that you've enjoyed the session. It's Blossoms in Bloom. It's a stamp set I've used, and today we used the matching dies. There are 2 of them, a large one and a fine one, and also in the dies there are these extra 2 flowers, so you could cut these flowers separately and 3D them if you wish to, or just stamp and cut those out on a separate card. So thank you so much for joining me this evening. I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening. I'm off for a team Zoom meeting in 7 minutes. So I look forward to catching some of my team on there, where we have a catch up and see how everybody's doing and what help anybody may need. If you're interested in joining my team, then you're absolutely welcome to do so. There's a great joining offer at the moment, and that is £130 of products for £99 plus 2 free stamp sets, and you also get 16 card packs ready to go, either to make cards for yourself or ideally to share with others. If that is of interest to anybody, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to chat to you. Absolutely no obligation. You know, come and find out what it's all about. Right, thank you so much. Thanks Jeanette and Vivian for joining us, and Moretta, Brenda, Joe. Oh, another Joe. Hi Joe. Who have I missed? Carol with an E, Carol without an E, and Tracy. Okie dokie. Thank you so much. Bye bye.